I'm often asked, what are some examples of the flow state experience? Well, you see it in sports all the time, really. It's when footballers score a hat trick in 5 minutes. You know, we've seen a great World Cup final where Mbappe scored 2 goals in 1 minute. So this is the flow experience of an athlete. Where when I actually played basketball, I had moments of this. I remember going training, or I was going into a pickup game, and I wanted to get into this team. It was a National League team, and I wasn't really invited to go there, but I basically gate crashed the training session because I wanted to play in this team. And I remember I went for 2 hours and I never missed a shot. There was other occasions where when I played for Wales, I was playing against Scotland and we were 12 points down with 3 minutes to go, and I managed to hit 4 3-pointers on the trot to win the game. So these are flow experiences that I've had, but you know, the top players seem to be able to do this all the time. They're able to trigger great moments because I think they prime their minds to be creating history. They think about creating history all the time, and I think that's an important factor in the flow state. It's not only about getting into the present state of now, but it's also about how you've prepared and what you've been thinking about in the days leading up to the competition. And I think many athletes mentally rehearse going into a competition of how it's going to play out. Michael Phelps has a great story where he would mentally rehearse himself at the Olympic Games, and he would go through all his races in this way, and he'll practice them for many hours in a day when he was not doing his physical training. He even started dreaming about the races, and in one of these dreams he dreamt about a particular time, something like, I think it was 3:07, but the 3:07 didn't correspond to any number, which was a bit of a strange kind of premonition, I guess, or a strange dream. Anyway, when he actually got into the Olympic Games, he had a particular race. In his first race, one of his split times was 3:07, and so he'd actually had a premonition of what's going to happen. And this is really what happens to people in the flow state. Their awareness seems to go somewhere in the future. Their awareness transcends the normal barriers that we have in space and time, and this is why many people believe that the flow state is really a state of altered state of consciousness, which basically reflects the unconscious mind taking over. And as we know in quantum physics, time and space is not linear, so our awareness in a quantum world can go into the future. And this is what we call intuition. Many of us have had that. You know, we get a feeling that something may be wrong at home and we phone up, and so that has happened. This kind of intuition is an important factor and something that is kind of part of the human ability system that no one really looks at, and certainly normal psychologists and normal scientists do not study this, but the parapsychologists are very, very familiar with these type of abilities, and they've been reporting on them for 30 years and they get completely ignored. But working with elite athletes, I know these people's research is totally reliable and totally verified. Many of the athletes I've worked with have premonitions. For instance, many of the golfers will tell you that often they will have a totally impossible shot, but they get this premonition of it going in, and they see it going in, and it happens. So they're constantly aware of these things happening, doing extraordinary things. And often, you know, athletes will go through stages, go through flow states. It usually go in and they go out of flow states. But I tell you now, you watch the NBA in the NBA finals, and you'll notice all the top players like Steph Curry and LeBron James and the Michael Jordans of the world and the Kobe Bryants of the world. You watch the percentage of their fourth quarter when it matters. For some reason, when the gong goes off and they go into that fourth quarter, the stats that they produce are quite extraordinary. They go from something like 30% shooters to something like 90% shooters. Everything goes in. And many of these basketball players will talk about, all they're looking for is that they become aware that everything is going to go in. Every shot that they take is going to go in. You get a feeling that you're in complete control of the game. And it's a magical moment in sport, and you see it all the time. So this is what the flow state does to people.